Yo, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. It's Fallback Sunday, November 3rd, 2024. Damn, it's only 2 months left in the year. Technically, it's 4 months left in the year, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, how y'all doing? It is Sunday, November 3rd, 2024, and your boy's on the road back to Georgia for work. Had a great weekend. Went paintballing yesterday. That was fun. Went paintballing for the homie's birthday. Had a great time. Killed a bunch of motherfuckers. You know what I mean? All that good stuff. Kelvin Black was good. Yeah. At paintball. Killed quite a few people at paintball. You know, it was fun. I'm definitely going to get my own gear and start doing this on a regular beat. You know what I mean? I want to actually start a team, a professional team. That'll be fun. It'll help keep you sharp. I suggest everybody go paintballing. You know what I'm saying? It'll give you some experience with going up against other teams that are shooting back at you. That's the whole point, right? Of course, paintball markers aren't as accurate as real guns, but you still get to practice assaults and all that good stuff, flanking, tactical retreats, cover fire, all that good stuff. Anyway, so Kelvin Black said he went hunting. That's what's up, man. I need to actually do that too. I need to go and get that cracking. So I just thought I'd come on here real brief and discuss the news about the National Guard being on standby in Oregon, Washington, and Nevada. All right. Now they're on standby for the purpose of being ready to deploy in the event of election unrest, right? There have been some incidents across the country with different polling places and whatnot, and in particular in Nevada, Oregon, and Washington, there were apparently some ballot boxes that were set on fire. And so, everybody's on edge. Because of this election bullshit. Because of the election bullshit, everybody's on edge. Everybody is basically worried about this election, cheating, and they're upset about they're concerned about the early voting and all that. And as a matter of fact, here in South Carolina, there apparently were some fights at polling places this past weekend. So, people are just, this is why I just talk about voting the way I do, man. People are so willing to go to bat for their vote, but they're not willing to go to bat for any other right, any other real important right. They're not concerned about other rights being violated. And they're more concerned about what other people are doing when they cast a vote, right? This is a huge problem, especially in light of the DOJ directive that I talked about a couple weeks ago. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I did a live stream about the Department of Justice directive that basically gives authorization for military personnel to use deadly force while assisting, civilian popos. You know what I'm saying? Shot killings was good. Yeah, shot killings, me too. I ain't, yeah. Tuesday might be an interesting day, y'all. And look, I'm not going to tell y'all what to do. especially for those of y'all who vote, right? I'm not going to tell y'all what to do. But it might be safer to be with your family and make sure they're safe. All I'm saying. Unleavened Evan was good. So, Dead Mike in the building. Dead Mike the troll. Listen. Everybody wants to talk about how important voting is. But what's more important to me is the fact that they are ready to deploy the National Guard, in response to unrest at the polls. This directive was put out because of concern about unrest during the election day. And the last thing I want is for the troops to get trigger happy and start doing stupid shit. No, Dead Mike, I'm not scared. This is, I'm optimistically cautious, right? No, I'm not scared. Not scared at all. I just know. I know how shit could work, I know how shit could work. And there's already people upset. Like I said, they are setting fires to ballot boxes, right? There actually may be a suspect for the ballot box arsonist. And so I'm not scared because I don't vote. There's nothing for me to fear. I don't go to polling places. I have no desire to go to a polling place and drop a ballot. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not scared. But what I'm saying is keep your head on the swivel and just look out, man. Look out for the National Guard, what they might do. If you're in a state where there is if you're in a swing state, that's where I feel a lot of things could happen of concern, are the swing states, right? The swing states are what I'm most concerned about. Swing states are what I'm concerned about. Georgia, yeah, Georgia's a swing state now. it didn't used to be a swing state. Georgia, Nevada's probably one. Places like that where there's, people get crazy over silly shit. Camiran Fields, what's good? Queen Camiran, how y'all doing? How you doing? Y'all go check out Camiran Fields channel. Y'all go check it out. Subscribe to her. A lot of great information on her channel in regards to mental health and whatnot. Matter of fact, I need to start going back into the videos and watching all the videos. So the thing is this: people are so easily amped up nowadays, right? People are very easily amped up. They're very easily triggered. And matter of fact, here in South Carolina, the issue was that somebody showed up with a was it a Trump hat? Something like that. It was one of those super conservative hats, right? Somebody got triggered and attacked him, right? Basically tried to take the hat off. And that's the problem, y'all. Right? That's the problem. We should not concern ourselves with what people are wearing on their body, whether we think it's offensive or not, right? People have the right to wear what the fuck they want to wear, to say what they want to say out of their mouths, right? That's what freedom of speech is all about. It's up to you to control your emotions and, not violate other people because you don't like what they have on, what they're doing. Moses Smith was good. People can wear what the fuck they want to wear. They're showing up to a public place like a polling place. If they want to wear a hat that says whatever the fuck they wanted to say. It is what it is. It's their prerogative, right? Black Spring with Autumn was good. Y'all go check her channel out too. Black Spring with Autumn. She definitely does not get enough love from the YouTube algorithm. She is highly suppressed, much like myself. And yeah, that's what they do to people that speak truth to power. They suppress them. But listen, this guy showed up with a hat somebody didn't like. They attacked them. They tried to take it off. That's where you get popped in the mouth, right? And I don't know what your intentions are putting your hands on me. So you might end up in the ground if you fuck around too much. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys vote, and you go into a polling place, if somebody's wearing something you don't like, if somebody's saying something you don't like, if they're supporting their favorite tyrant, if they want to vote for their favorite tyrant and you want to vote for your favorite tyrant and you guys have different tyrants that you guys love, mind your own fucking business. Right? Mind your own fucking business. Drop your submission slip into the box and let the government know that you will acquiesce to everything they fucking want you to do and keep it pushing. Mind your fucking business. We do not have the right to touch anybody, put our hands on anybody, violate someone because they are expressing themselves as they see fit. And they're not causing any harm to you. They're not doing anything to you. They're not threatening you. It's just best to mind your own fucking business. It's best to mind your own business. That's just the bottom line to it. It's funny. I almost hurt somebody yesterday when I was paintballing, right? Almost hurt somebody. So we're doing the last game. I did like 5 or 6 games. It was fun as fuck. I was lighting motherfuckers up the whole day. My team didn't always win, but I was taking motherfuckers out left and right. Even the guys that had the professional double trigger paint markers and all that stuff, all the equipment, $300, $500 worth of equipment. Anyway, so my paint marker started malfunctioning. You know, is one of the ones that you rent. They're old and you know all that good shit. So it started malfunctioning, and I wanted to advance. Right, I wanted to advance through the woods, get to this car because I felt like that was the perfect position to flank from and to flank the enemy. But my shit stopped working, so I couldn't do it. Right, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna have to call it quits because my shit ain't working. My shit wasn't working, so I lifted my hands up. I said, "Out, I'm out." I didn't get hit, but you know, if my gun ain't working, what the fuck I'm gonna do? So by that time the game ended, right? And the time elapsed. So I had my hands up. I'm doing this. I'm walking back to the ref to tell him the gun is fucking up. And somebody shoots me a bunch of times, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh word. And it's this fat fuck, right? The game is over. But this fat fuck just kept shooting me. And I look at him, and he has his paint marker pointed at me. And I basically warned him not to fuck with me, right? I said, hey, you better knock that shit off. He looked like a young kid. I don't know how old he was, but he was super fat. And, you know, I feel like 10 years ago, I might have charged him, but if he'd have shot me one more time yesterday, I would have. The bottom line is I had every right to go up to that dude and body slam him. I had every right to stomp a mud hole in that motherfucker, right? Because he violated. The game was over, we were done. Motherfucker kept shooting me. All right. But it's funny how long he kept the barrel trained on me after I pointed and I told him to fucking stop. And like he wanted to keep shooting me, but He knew better. At that point in time, if I'd have stopped the mud hole in him, I would have been in the right. Right? But that's the point. Right? And when you get violated, that's when you do it. So the guy with the fucking hat you don't like, he's not the fat kid with the paint marker that kept shooting you when you were done. No. He's just some guy. So that's the point, right? So y'all, if y'all are voters, just be careful when y'all go out there, right? Be careful. There's a lot of tensions, a lot of this, a lot of that going on because this vote is so fucking special. The day after tomorrow, the new tyrant will be selected and life will go on. Right? Life will go on. When you have an understanding that this shit is rigged, when you have an understanding, even if it's not rigged, right? Even if it's not rigged, there's so many systems in place that may prevent your favorite guy from doing what they want to do. They might want to do everything you want them to do, right? They might want to make the country a better place. But there are systems in place, obstacles in place that are deliberately placed, that are deliberately put there to prevent them from doing what they want to do, right? But that's an illusion, just so y'all know. That is an illusion. Because the executive branch has all the real power. They have control of the military. They have control of federal law enforcement. They have control of the Department of Justice, or Department of Justice. When I said the Department of Justice directive, I meant Department of Defense directive. Earlier in the video, earlier in the live stream. The executive branch has all the real power. They have all the real power. So if a president wanted to, right? If they could sway their generals, right? The chiefs of staff, right? The chiefs of staff for each military branch, they could have them carry out whatever order they saw fit. I mean, think about it. The Department of Defense authorized deadly force. I want y'all to understand how this shit really works. The Department of Defense, at the behest of the Biden administration, allegedly, supposedly, authorized deadly force on U.S. soil against civilians while assisting civilian law enforcement in the event of unrest. And we have a lot of tension boiling that could lead to unrest. It could lead to unrest. And these military individuals, military personnel, are authorized to use deadly force. They did not go through the proper channels to make this happen. They didn't go through Congress. They didn't go through the Senate, right? There was no vote. This was not, it was basically executive action. And they just changed some words up on this directive, right? They changed some words. They added some very crucial language to this directive. And now, military personnel can carry out deadly force. They can carry it out against, and this goes against the Posse Comitatus Act, right? So this is basically a violation of law. This is basically a violation of their own motherfucking laws that they are supposed to enforce. The executive branch is supposed to enforce laws, but they are going against them. They are violating them, right? I just want us to understand this. This is the understanding we must have. you know. And of course, Congress and the Senate, they're making a big show of asking, well, what's this directive about? What are we doing here? But what are they gonna do about it? They held Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt, just like they did that one guy, Donald Trump's buddy, the one that just got out, the one that served time for contempt of Congress, Steve O'Bannon, or whatever the fuck his name is, right? Breitbart guy. He just got let out. He was held in contempt, but they arrested his ass. Well, they held Merrick Garland in the contempt of Congress. But guess what? He runs the Department of Justice. He's not going to have himself arrested. Do y'all see how this shit works? The NDA comes to mind. 11 Evan, tell me which. Well, I can't really read that deep into anything, y'all. Who y'all deleting? Oh, let me see. Kamir, you ain't gotta Queen Kamir, you ain't gotta delete him. Their Mike is a resident troll, y'all. You ain't gotta delete him. But what's done is done. Oh well. What's done is done. Just so y'all know, I typically don't like to delete. I'm not into censorship unless they're like spamming or an obvious bot. But that might can be fucking annoying, right? So it is what it is, though. 2 years later, they arrested Brennan. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The bottom line is, Tim will not dare arrest him because he runs the DOJ. You know, if you understand civics, right, and how it's supposed to work, if you understand how that shit's supposed to work, how it's all supposed to be broken down, you would understand that everybody in government is in violation, and they all can be arrested for treason. They all can be arrested for violating 18 U.S. Code 241 and 18 U.S. Code 242, right? Deprivation of rights in the color of law, and conspiracy to deprive rights in the color of law, right? If you conspire to violate the rights of any individual, you can be arrested. And if someone is harmed or kidnapped, arrested, so to speak, kidnapped or harmed or killed while carrying out this violation of rights under the color of law, well, you can be put to death. You can be put to death. So it's not just the people that actually deprive the rights, it's also those who conspire to deprive the rights of the individual. Not just rights, privileges, rights and privileges. That is in 18 U.S. Code 242. When they tell you this bullshit about, oh, well, driving is a privilege, it's not a right. Well, you have right to privileges. Privileges are a right. Your privilege to drive is a right. Your privilege, right, to build a house in the woods is your right. Things that they consider privileges and not rights are protected. Right? So when they use words like privileges to gaslight you and to try to convince you that you don't deserve privileges, that privileges are something that you have to earn, understand that either they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, they want you to operate under their status mind state as well. Privileges are rights, y'all. Privileges are rights. So while, a privilege is something that is not necessarily a necessity that you can enjoy as you see fit. As long as you're not violating someone or causing harm to somebody else. If you're not causing harm to somebody or the environment while carrying out your privileges, you have a right to those privileges. That's the bottom line to it. So, while voting, people might view that as a right. Well, voting is not a necessity. So I wouldn't consider that a right, but it is a privilege that you're protected to, you are protected to carry out the act of voting, which is your privilege to do so. So I'm not against voting, y'all. I'm not against it. I just want people to understand what they're doing when they vote in this system for these types of things. Right? And I want y'all to understand that people are going to go out and vote. They're going to go stand in lines, right? They're already been voting. They have this early voting stuff going on. They're already voting. They're going to the polls, right? They're upset, right? Because a lot of people are triggered. A lot of people are triggered. A lot of people are sensitive. And so all these people are gathering together. And at the same time, the Department of Defense authorized deadly force against those individuals if they act up. And if you go through the whole thing, the directive, you'll understand they can only use like 20 people. So once they get beyond 20 people, meaning 20 military personnel, they have to get more permissions and stuff like that. They have to get more approvals. But they're approved. They can use up to 20 motherfuckers per incident, right? So I want y'all to understand that they may want y'all to act up. They may want y'all to act up so they can use, so they can go with this directive, right? I would not put it past, or I would not put it past this guy. Shot Killing says, what about guns? Well, a gun is a tool, right? You have a right to use a tool to defend yourself. See, self-defense is a right, right? Self-defense is a right because it's a necessity to be able to defend yourself against an attacker. That's a necessity. So you have a right to use whatever tool you see fit to defend yourself. Yes, so the right to own and carry a firearm is a right. It's not a privilege. Right? So privileges are, again, privileges are things that you can carry out, acts that you can carry out and do that aren't necessities. Whereas rights are things that you can carry out and do that are necessities. Like the right to privacy, that is a necessity. The right to free speech, that is a necessity. You should be able to speak your mind as you see fit. That is a necessity. That is a right. Driving, it's a privilege, right? But traveling is a right. The right to travel is yours. So, the right to drive to travel, I mean, it's a right. Let's get that straight then. You have the right to travel. You have the freedom of travel. You have a right to do that. And you're just using a tool. Again, a car is a tool to get from one place to another. That's a right. So driving is not even a privilege. If you can buy a car, if you can afford to buy a car to travel the road you want to travel, that's your right. So all in all, driving, owning a vehicle, that's your right. It's not a privilege. Now, what's a privilege? I'll give you an example. It's a necessity to eat, right? Eating is a necessity. Drinking water or hydrating is a necessity. You have to be hydrated to survive. You have to eat food to live, to survive. But if you want to eat cake, if you want to eat sugar shit, right? Or if you want to drink sugar shit, well, you have a right to do that You have a right to drink, but consuming sugar is not a necessity, right? Arguably, sugar is not a necessity. No, not even arguably, it's not. Your body needs glucose, but you can get glucose by other means. You can get glucose by eating protein. Your body will use protein to get some form of glucose. You understand what I'm saying? But sugar, drinking orange juice, it's not a necessity, right? It's a privilege. You have the privilege to eat cake, right? You have the right to consume whatever you want to consume, but you have the privilege to consume cake. You understand? Do y'all get that? It's really just semantics. Because in my mind, a privilege is a right, and a right is a privilege, right? But again, like I told you guys, they use these words to confuse y'all, right? They use the words to confuse y'all. Was Moses Smith? Moses Smith, what was your previous name? Because I don't remember ever wrenching up a Moses. Sugar is everyone's first addiction. I've cut back. I have as well. Yeah, sugar shit. That's what I tell my children. I call it sugar shit when they want to eat a bunch of BS. Right, like they did the Halloween thing and got some candy. And we were letting them eat one piece of candy a day. But I said after today, we throwing that shit out. No more sugar shit. If you want to eat something sweet, I'll get you some molds. You guys can get some chocolate, some chocolate powder, right? Y'all can get some allulose sweetener or something like that. Or use honey. They can use honey, they can use dates, they can use allulose, and they can make their own shit. They can make their own candy. As a matter of fact, my daughter, my second and oldest daughter, she likes to make chocolate bars, right? But we don't have the molds. So she'll just use a pan and flatten it all out. She'll add the mixture together, which is like butter, cacao powder, and she was using peanut butter and erythritol, and she would just create the mixture and spread it out, throw it in the freezer. That's how she made it. But I'm not really a fan of erythritol anymore, so I got her. We're gonna use allulose. Allulose is much better. But anyway, yeah, I call it sugar shit when they want to eat that crap. When they want to eat that crap, I call it sugar shit. That's what I tell them. No more sugar shit. Anyway. And listen, I want you guys to understand this as well. Everything that the government does is an experiment. Right? It's an experiment. Just like I talked about the other day when I was talking about the autism, is that this country that we live in, that's ran by this government, this corporation, they carry out experiments where this is an open lab. And that's why they have not outlawed a lot of the ingredients that other countries have outlawed across the world, right? That's not how I would go about it. I wouldn't outlaw all this crap they're putting in the food. I would just make people aware of it, because at the end of the day, if people want to, if they want to consume sugar shit and industrial seed oil shit, it's their right to do so. They have the right. They have a right to be informed as well. So if you're going to put crap in your food, you got to you got to let people know all the crap that you have in your food, right? So at the end of the day, people have a right to consume what they want to consume. So outlawing things like drugs and outlawing industrial seed oils and food dyes and all that, it's a violation. Point blank period. Point blank period, it's a violation. But the bottom line is to be informed. So if you're going to sell your product to the public, you got to inform them of what's in it. Anyway, so Everything is an experiment. So why did they put out this Department of Defense directive? Did they have to do that to the public? Put it out there to the public? Did they have to do that? What made them want to put that out? Because the first directive, right, back in 2000, I think it was 2016, I believe. They didn't put it out like that. They didn't put it on blast. But why are they putting it on blast now? Right before the election. Why are they doing that 1 month or so before the election? Is it so that they can encourage people not to go out and vote because they're afraid they might get killed by the military? Or what is it really? Why put it out there? You have to wonder, right? Because do they really not want people go out and vote? No, they want people to go out and vote. That's for damn sure. Moses says they're trying to quell the BS. Quell what BS? You've been going a while when you're first started. What? But you were always Moses? I don't know about quelling the BS. I don't know about that. What I think is going on here is that they want us to be aware that they have authorization to kill us if we get out of line, right? They're authorized to use deadly force. They want us to know that. And they want us to know that it's official. And they're painting the picture that it might be necessary. You see it all over the news. You see it all in the propaganda. You see it when they're talking about ballot boxes being set on fire. They want to paint the picture that it might be necessary. You've always been, I got to think about that. I've always been Moses. Now that you mentioned, I think I'm starting to remember. But they want us to be aware that it's official. They want us to be aware that there are concerns by the government of civil unrest, and that in order to quell any unrest, they might have to use deadly force. That might be the case. And it might be easier for them to carry it out and get away with it because it's official. Because there's a lot of statists out there. There are a lot of statists out there that will be okay with this simply because the government said it's okay. Yeah, there are people out there like that. There are people that believe that the government can do whatever they want to do because they're the government. They are so believing in this system. They so believe in that. They're so in belief that this government is benevolent. They want the best for us, and they just want, all this shit. They think Kamala. There are people that think Kamala wants what's good for the people. They think Trump wants good for the people, right? They think these things. They believe it. They believe that our military is being commanded by benevolent people that just want to protect their citizenry. Well, the best way to protect your citizenry as a U.S. military is to bring that ass back to our country and protect our borders. That is the best way. It's not to turn your guns inward to the people. But again, what have they also done? Well, they let a lot of these people come to this country, right? A lot of them, over 400,000 known criminals, violent criminals. A lot of them murderers and all this other shit. They let them come all up and through here. And then, of course, there are those that we don't know about. So, what are we talking about here? They have created a powder keg. And we have no idea if the fuse is lit. If the fuse is lit, well, they want to be prepared to use that deadly force, y'all. But my question is, why haven't the Colorado National Guard been put on standby or been deployed to extract these criminal aliens that are taking over multiple apartment buildings and causing terror? Why isn't the propaganda machine talking about that anymore? Why are they not blowing that up? What's going on in Colorado? Where else is this going on? Chicago, all these other places. Moses Smith, what's a lie? They're killing us brown folks. They're killing white folks. Huh? They letting white folks know. What are you talking about, Kelvin? Or Moses? What's a lie, Moses? Let me know. Are you saying it's a lie that Venezuelan gangs are taking over apartment buildings in Colorado? Because that's not a lie. That's a proven fact. That's a proven fact. And understand that's what they want. That's what they want in places like Colorado. But I need you to tell me what the lie is. Be specific. Be specific. Because I tell you what, man, at some point, the people of Colorado are going to get tired and fed up, and they're going to want to act out. They're going to want to do something about those people. Moses says, proven, question mark. Mayor says it isn't true. Oh, well, if the mayor said it, what? Moses, come on, man. Knock it off. We've seen the video. I've seen the video footage. I've seen the testimony of individuals that actually live in Colorado. I know people that live in Colorado. It's proven, bro. Like, Moses, knock it off. You're not there. You don't know. All right, so why are you telling me about what a mayor's saying? Why are you talking about a mayor, what a mayor says, if you don't know and you ain't there? I wasn't there. Thomas Scandian says it's factual. Well, I know. But the mayor said it's not. But he wasn't there, so he don't know. I wasn't there when the Department of Defense drafted that directive. I wasn't there when they drafted that. The directive to use deadly force to assist civilian law enforcement in the event of civil unrest. But I know it's a fucking official because it's on their website. I've read it. I've read it out loud. I've read it to the people here when I did that Rucking Live. I've seen these people go into the apartment buildings with firearms, walking around like it's a fucking favela. But I don't give a fuck what the mayor says, right? I don't give a fuck what the mayor says. So it's your prerogative. You want to believe what the mayor says out of his fucking mouth versus what you've seen and what you've heard and what they're no longer talking about because they don't want to shed any more light on it. That's up to you. That is up to you, my friend. Have at it. Yeah, okay. Thomas Scannion makes a good point. Why would he want to admit to his failures? Here's the bottom line. Lincoln Riley in Georgia, right? The one that was killed by that criminal alien. The mayor of that town tried to tell us that it wasn't a sanctuary city. He lied. Because 2 years ago, he damn near outright said it's a sanctuary city. That's why the motherfucker went from New York to that part of Georgia, because he knew he would have safe haven there. And I know Lincoln Riley's a white girl, right? Conservative white girl. Why do we give a fuck? Well, because if it happened to her, it probably happened to some black and brown young ladies in other places. They just don't give a fuck about it. As a matter of fact, it has happened. Here's the bigger picture when it comes to that. Here's the bigger picture. Lincoln Riley, that's just the tip of the iceberg in regards to these criminal aliens. It's the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more going on than that. You see, the Venezuelan gangs, the Salvadorian gangs, right? The Haitians that they say eat cats and shit. That is what they want you to focus on. But what they don't want you to focus on are the organized sales, right? The organized sales that are plotting and scheming to cause some devastation, right? What they don't want you, and what I'm talking about are the sales that involve the sales of those of the desert persuasion, the Arabian desert persuasion. What they don't want you to focus on are the operatives, right? The operatives, what is known, what they call in movies spies, that are making their way through the United States. And they're linking up with people that have been here for decades, right? That have gotten themselves into positions of power within government, within the military, and those of the Asian persuasion, right? The Chinese nationals. They don't want you to focus on those individuals. Plenty of those people came over here. This is something of a hydra, right? What they have created over the last 3 years. I'm not even going to say the Biden administration. I'm going to say the puppet masters. I appreciate you, Shaquilla. Queen Shaquilla, how you doing? Are you and Kamiran, are y'all sisters or something? Y'all related? Y'all gotta be related. So, here's the thing. They don't want you to know about these things, right? Because the puppet masters, right? Who are they truly aligned with? Who are they aligned with? Who are their true allies? Who are their true allies? Who are their true allies? How is it that the Chinese have been able to buy up so much land in the United States near military bases? Can y'all help me understand that? Can y'all help me understand that? How is it they're able to buy so much land? How are they able to fly balloons over military bases and then basically threaten us if we try to collect all the scraps from the fucking balloon? Any company that operates, any business that operates out of China in the United States operates on the behalf of the Chinese government, right? We have been infiltrated by a bunch of Chinese nationals, a bunch of other foreign nationals, that they're not going to be walking around with firearms, right? They're not going to go into apartment buildings. They're not going to do all that stuff. No, they are organizing in a different way. Eric Swalwell allowed a Chinese operative to collect data and information from him for years before she was found out. Right? And that's an interesting thing too. Why would they let us know about that? Okay, oh, it's your daughter. Okay. All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. Queen Shaquilla producing beautiful young ladies. So, understand this. Right? There is a lot more to worry about than just Venezuelans, Haitians, and Salvadorians. Right? And we are ill-equipped to deal with any of this shit. Ill-equipped. Because I understand that the individuals that, the bankers, right? The bankers that run this country, if y'all don't understand that, then I want you guys to read. I want you guys to go out and get a book called Every War is a Banker War. All right? I want y'all to go out and get that stuff. Get the literature. Get the books. Right? This is how these people operate. I want you guys to go look up the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. That is the year we sold our country to the bankers. Yeah. That's when we sold it. Because understand that the Federal Reserve is not a government agency. What it is a conglomerate of big banks that actually run, that basically operate, they control the money, basically. They determine how the money flows in this country, how the currency operates, all that good shit. They're in charge of printing money, right, when we need it. Printing money physically or typing in zeros digitally, right? They are responsible for quantitative easing, quantitative tightening, raising interest rates, lowering interest rates. They are responsible for all that shit. They determine where the money comes from. And because we have no actual physical gold backing our dollar anymore, right? Because we were taken off of it, right? We were taken off the gold standard. Because of that, they had to use other things to back the money. And it's not just oil, right? It's not just oil. That's not it. Because as you can clearly see, they can cut that shit off, right? OPEC is actually right now trying to get the petrodollar removed, right? And what the petrodollar is basically, if you want to buy oil from OPEC, if you want to trade for oil and whatnot with OPEC, you have to convert your money to the U.S. dollar. You got to use the U.S. dollar to do so. It's the world reserve currency. So you have to use the world reserve currency to purchase oil from OPEC to trade for it. And it's not, OPEC is a group of countries where oil is produced. And it includes Venezuela. It's not just Middle Eastern countries. Right? So our dollar appears to be backed by that. But we don't control that. We don't control it. We don't control how that works. What we can control is what we use to back, what the other things we use to back our dollar here in the United States. Can anybody tell me what other than oil they use to back the dollar? I'll give you a hint. Futures. Right? 'Cause, 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 Now, one thing they also use, right? What they also use, and I'm not talking about oil here produced here in our country. I'm not talking about that. They do use that, right? They do use that. We produce oil here, that, and we also trade, right? When we have enough oil that we're drilling for and whatnot, we can sell to other countries. So that also helps, right? But what else do they use? Because the oil that we produce, right? The oil we produce here and the OPEC and the petrodollar is not enough to cover the debt. Dead Mike, I can't read the chat right now, but if you're spamming, yeah, y'all. At the black, we don't like anybody right now. Let's not delete messages. You know what I'm saying? Because here's my thing. This is why I feel it's important not to censor. It is not just because people have the right to free speech, right? It's because we get to see what other people are thinking about and what they're saying, right? Free speech allows you to see how other people operate that don't agree with you. You get to look into their minds and determine how they operate and how to best deal with them. I'm sure you're not spamming. You're probably saying some silly shit. You're probably trolling, and they don't like it. So what I'm saying is, you want the trolls to troll, right? Because it reminds you of how people's minds work. You want people to say the wild shit. You want to know where they're coming from, so you know how to deal with them. But the bottom line is, I'm asking you guys, what else is used? Because we have way too much debt, and we owe China way too much money. Not just China, but other countries. We have way too much debt, and we owe debt to China and debt to other countries, right? Mostly China. Well, the people. Unleavened Evan says you cannot and will not censor. I appreciate that. No, censorship is not good, y'all. And understand, some people that I made mods, they are coming from different walks of life. They're fairly new to my channel, and so, you gotta, they have a certain, they're used to certain things, right? So you gotta give them a little bit. But I'm letting y'all know you don't have to block anybody. You don't have to censor anybody. Let them say what they want to say. If they saying some silly shit, let them say they silly shit. Let them say their silly shit. Because you want people to see the silly motherfuckers. Anyway. Dead Mike, stop it. You're not trying to have respect. 5 times out of 10, you're not trying to be respectful. But it's okay. It's all right. So, look. It's the people, y'all. It's our children. It's our children's children. It's our children's children's children. Right? The product of our time and labor and energies is what they're using to operate. To, print all that money, to add all those zeros and ones. Yeah, they depend on the extortion of our children and our children's children. Extortion practices. That's what they depend on. Yeah. Yeah. So understand that all this debt that we're in this country, it'll never be paid off. It'll never be paid off. But they're not concerned about it because we'll keep having children that are going to go to work that they can extort. You know what I'm saying? And that's the bottom line. And China will continue to sell us their shitty products that we'll have to buy, right? That's just the bottom line to it. It's a vicious cycle. So I want y'all to know what they're doing, right? What they're doing to operate, what this government is doing to operate. Because, you know, taxation is theft. It's official theft. It's sanctioned theft by the government. The mafia does it, right? When the mob does it, you know, they get a RICO predicate and they go to prison. But when the government does it, it's sanctioned, right? It's just the cost of doing business in the country. And there's multiple forms of taxes, y'all. There's inflation, right? That's the invisible tax. You know, sales tax, all these different taxes, right? But it's never enough because everybody has to get their piece. Everybody has to get their piece. You know, you got the local governments, you got the state governments, you got the federal government. Everybody has to take a piece of what you got. Oh, well, you know, yeah, you got this shiny new road that we built. Look at this nice shiny road you got. You're traveling down a road, you're crossing the bridge, you're using a hospital. All these things that they tell you goes, that's what your tax money goes to. That's what they tell you. Yeah, and some of it might go to that. But have you seen how these motherfuckers operate? Have you seen how long it takes them to repair a road and build a bridge and all this other shit? Have you seen that? I mean, come on, y'all. No. None of it is justifiable, right? None of it is justifiable. But here we are. And here we are. In Tuesday, when y'all go out there to vote, when y'all go out there to vote on Tuesday, you're letting them know that they can continue to operate in such a way that they're operating. You're opting in when you go vote. You're letting them know that you want to stay within the system. You want to operate within the system. You're going to allow them to continue to do the things they're doing. And that's it. But someday everybody's going to get fed up, y'all. And they sense that that day is coming. They believe that day is coming. And that's why the Department of Defense authorized deadly force. They authorized deadly force to assist civilian law enforcement in the event of unrest. Unrest, y'all. Not domestic terrorism, not, you know, straight up violence, not riots, not insurrection. Because there's already an Insurrection Act, right? They have the Insurrection Act that the president can initiate. No. Unrest. What is unrest? Who defines that? Who determines what this unrest is? It could be unrest that you show up to, right? The police, they show up to some protest, right? People get agitated, start yelling and screaming. Well, the police chief or the sheriff, they might get a wild hair up their ass and say, man, I don't know about this. They're getting kind of wild out here. You know, let's hit up the DOD. Have them send us some folks. And here comes 10 or 12 military personnel with loaded weapons standing around. What are they waiting for? You see, the people within the protest might get agitated simply because you called a bunch of military personnel on them. They might start to get agitated. You might have triggered a violent event just by showing up. Your presence there, and the people's knowledge that you're turned toward them with your loaded weapons, that might set them off. that might get some people agitated. Because in reality, what the military should be doing, this is what they should be doing. The Department of Defense should have issued a directive for military personnel to use deadly force against civilian law enforcement in the event they get out of control and start attacking the citizens, right? The so-called citizens. That's what should have happened. Yo, these cops, they getting out of control, man. You know, they need to be checked a little bit. We need to make sure that the people's right to protest and to redress grievances are protected. So instead of showing up and turning our weapons inward, turning ourselves inwards with our weapons in the hand, we need to be turning outwards. We need to be forming a protective ring around the people that are choosing to protest and to redress grievances. And we should let those people know that we're not going to allow these cops to violate your rights. That's what the directive should say. Because, think about it. Why would civilian and local law enforcement, why would they need the military's help when they have all the weapons, they have all the so-called authority? Why would they need their help? Right? Because 9 times out of 10, these people are showing up. They're not armed. They're not armed. Most protesters are not armed with firearms. You understand what I'm saying? Right? Gets out of hand, they might pick up some bottles and rocks and throw them. But they're not armed because they're not supposed to be armed, right? They should be able to be armed, but they're not. So why do civilian law enforcement need any extra assistance? Why do they need the military to show up in a show of force against their own people, against their civilians, the people that pay their bills, people that pay for them to operate as they do? Think about that. Why is this Department of Defense directive even necessary? Because think about it. Riots occur. National Guard shows up sometimes and quells that shit without even using any deadly force. So why are we authorizing deadly force, y'all? Think about it. Why authorize deadly force? When in the history of this country has there been a protest that escalated to riots where the people actually started outright attacking the police with firearms and shit like that? When does that happen? Maybe once or twice. Because I remember the LA riots. No one attacked the police. Right? The people did not attack the police. They destroyed their own property. They attacked businesses owned by the Asians or whatnot. And the Asians had their own shit. They had shotguns and fully automatic weapons to protect their own businesses. But the cops, they just were, trying to not to allow it to escalate. But, when has the people armed with firearms actually turned those weapons against the cops and started blasting the popo? When have we ever done that? You might, in normal cases, you have, actual criminals. They get into shootouts with police. Yeah, that's the norm. That shit happens, right? But these are criminals we're talking about. These are motherfuckers that, they're not protesting anything. They just trying to operate their criminal organization. They're trying to, do their criminal shit, and they get into it with the police, and they go to town with the police. But when has that ever been the case with protesters? When has that ever been the case with rioters? It's never happened. Taylor Saylor says, thank God I live in small town South Carolina. I live in South Carolina as well. A relatively small town where it's getting out of control, and I'm going to have to move because too many people are, they're building this goddamn car plant way too close to the house, and it's out of control. Dead Mike, he says he went to white areas to vote and it was smooth. Dead Mike, you funny as hell, bro. You wild. You're a wild one. Anyway, yeah, you live in small town South Carolina. I live in smallish town South Carolina, and it's not really a concern of mine. And my wife, she don't vote, so. But she is at the, she's going to be at the house with about, I'll say 6 or 7 firearms that she can use to protect our family. I'd rather be there every day, but I gotta do what I gotta do, right? Spartanburg, I was actually looking into Spartanburg or Greenville, but the problem is the taxes, man. South Carolina tax is ass. South Carolina taxes is fucking out of control. And I don't see any justification for the taxation. There is no representation for the taxation in South Carolina. That shit is wild and out of control, and it is fucking nuts. South Carolina got to have an ass load of money the way they tax motherfuckers around here. It's fucking stupid. Then Mike says, as long as they don't drop off a bus of migrants, I'm not moving. Then Mike, I don't even know where you live, bro. Now, they're probably not going to drop off a bus of immigrants in places like South Carolina, but what they will do, they'll drop them off in Georgia, and they'll spread themselves around. Trust me, I've seen them out here. I've seen them out here digging ditches and all this other shit. When I first showed up 2.5 years ago, all I saw was black folks. I saw a bunch of black folks in construction, doing the road work, all that shit. I mean, I still see them a lot, but yeah, I'm seeing more and more of the others coming through. But listen, y'all, I mean, a lot of people like to make light of this immigration situation. They like to downplay it, right? Oh, well, immigration is so great for the economy. It's a country of immigrants. Is this, that? Listen, all these things are true, right? But what also is true is that when you allow so many people to come over here unvetted, we don't know shit about them, and they just dropping them off by the ass load, and they just coming in tens and tens of millions of people. It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter what country they're from. It doesn't matter if they Scandinavian or motherfucking goddamn Madagascaran. I don't care if they come from Madagascar, the North Pole. I don't care if they come from goddamn the South Pole, goddamn ice glacier. I don't give a fuck where they come from. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter. There's a reason they're coming through the way they're coming through, right? Because they understand. Well, they clamp down on it, right? They clamp down on it for election year. But the previous 2 years or 3 years, I'm just saying, y'all, people, they like to downplay it. They like to downplay it. Oh, it's not a problem. Oh, this, that, and the third. Listen, man. Oh, they're not taking your jobs. They're taking the jobs y'all don't want. That's bullshit. 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 Because I work in construction, y'all, and I can tell you, there are quite a few of them on the site that I'm working right now, and they could care less. They could care less about quality. And I'm quality control. I am the quality control, quality assurance manager of the company, right? On this job site. They don't give a fuck. They really don't. All they care about is getting the shit in. They don't care about the quality. They don't understand electrical theory. They're just doing shit. They're just doing shit. That's very fucking dangerous. Matter of fact, discovered some shit last week with one of the installations that could have been a problem if it wasn't caught. Yeah, a big problem. But that's another story. Taylor Saylor says he thinks that they led all these people here to attack. Not just to attack, right? It's a multifaceted strategy to put strain on the system, right? To disrupt the economy, to make the economy ass, right? To drain our time and labor and energies, right? When they give these people free shit. It was done to do a number of things. And yes, attack might be one of those things. I talked about that. I talked about that in previous live streams where I said some shit might go down involving those individuals that, the government might be aware or may not be aware it may happen. Orchestrated or co-opted, right? They might, however they got to do it. They want this powder keg here. They want it. Because here's the bottom line to it. They think they're protected, right? They think they're protected because they got all this money and all this power. They got these bunkers, they got these ivory towers. They feel like they're insulated. So they got that Elysium mindset. If y'all know what I'm talking about, there's a movie called Elysium that y'all should go check out. They have the Elysium mindset, the Demolition Man mindset, the what's that other one? Mockingbird, the one with the goddamn the chick that was with the bow and arrow. They feel insulated. They feel like they will not retrieve. They will not have any repercussions or consequences for their actions, man. But that's not how life works, y'all. That's not how physics works. That's not how physics works. That's not how cosmically it works. Because every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Every empire falls. It doesn't matter what the empire is. It falls eventually. Right? Even if you are in power and no one knows you're in power, it doesn't matter because you will be discovered as the motherfuckers really pulling the strings. How do I know that? How do I know the bankers run the country? Well, like I told y'all, I want y'all to go look up the Federal Reserve Act of 1913 and go get the book, Every War is a Banker War. There's another book too, I forgot the name of it, but it was written by a general known as Smedley Butler. Yeah, Hunger Games, Taylor. If you notice, all those movies I mentioned have the same basic premise. Elysium, Demolition Man, and Hunger Games. They all involved this power dynamic. Extreme power dynamics, right? But what these movies are desires of those individuals that want to have that dynamic. And they're slowly building to that dynamic right now. except in these movies where it's out in the open. Well, not really Demolition Man. Demolition Man, you know, was a little bit more subterfuge with it, but not really. Because the guy that ran shit in Los Angeles, or not Los Angeles, what is it called? San Angeles or something, like whatever the fuck it was. He was clearly the dictator of that area, of that city. He did it under this veil of, but really was not benevolence at all. I think that's how they would really actually like for it to be, because in Demolition Man, I want you to understand, in Demolition Man, this is the true goal. They want you to believe that they are doing everything for your best interest, but it is really for their it's really due to their hunger for power, right? I mean, in San Angeles, right? That's what it's called, San Angeles. In San Angeles, Tacto, I forgot his name. I forgot the guy's name. I think it was Tacto or something like that. He outlawed salt, meat, right? Profanity, freedom of travel. You know, everybody had automatic vehicles, right? Or self-driving cars, right? He outlawed sex, physical contact, all these things, all under the guise, all under the assumption, not the assumption, what's that? All under the guise of safety, public safety. Oh, well, you can't have sex. You can't have actual human contact during sex because you might get HIV, AIDS, and boo-boo V, and all these different things that they call it, right? Right? The chick that Sandra Bullock played, she rattled off all these diseases that you could get from having actual physical sex. When Sylvester Stallone tried to take her down, right? Well, she wanted to take him down, but with a goddamn VR machine. And he's like, "Hey, man, get this shit out of here. I'm trying to slide." You know what I mean? She said, "No, we can't do that because of all these diseases. Well, how do you have kids? Oh, you got to go to a lab. You got to go to the lab and get inseminated, right? All under the auspices of public safety. No cussing, because it would offend people. No firearms. They had firearms in the fucking museum. The police didn't even have guns. They had stunners, or, you know, stingrays or sting batons. This is that is the goal. They, like I said, they outlawed salt. They outlawed meat. And the only restaurant that could operate in this town, in this city, San Angeles, was Taco Bell. There was no other restaurant. That is how complete their tyranny was. And everybody was soft as shit. Everybody, all the men were beta men. All the women were goddamn super just, it was wild, right? But this movie came out like 30 years ago or something like that. In the 90s, yo. The movie came out in the 90s. That is the goal. That is the society they see for us. They want us to eat all this vegan soy crap. They want to get rid of all the guns. They don't want us to be offensive with our words. This is the goal for these motherfuckers, man. This is a wet dream for them. And what did it? It took an event that was so devastating that they had to start from scratch. And somebody took advantage of that and brought about this whole bullshit. Well, in the movie, it was an earthquake. A devastating earthquake that killed in Los Angeles, right off the San Andreas Fault. It was a huge earthquake that caused so much devastation and death that they had to start over. And this guy took advantage of that. It took a devastating event for that to happen. The Hegelian dialectic was at play in that movie. Problem, reaction, solution. What was the problem? Oh, the earthquake. It just completely destroyed our way of life. We had to take over. You get the fear-based reaction. Oh, there's bandits out in the street. Everybody's taking advantage of, all these criminals are running around just taking advantage of people in this vulnerable state. What's the solution? The solution is to clamp down on every freedom in your life and to use public safety to do so. To convince people that, you shouldn't use salt because it can cause a heart attack. You shouldn't eat meat because that can cause heart attacks. It's bad for your health. You shouldn't curse because that is aggressive behavior that we can't tolerate, right? It hurts our feelings. You can't drive your own cars. No, you gotta let the car drive for you because you don't pay attention enough. There's too many accidents on the road when people drive their own vehicles. See, there's always a reason. But at the end of the day, it was power. This guy, Tactile, whatever the hell his name was, that ran the city, there was some rebels that lived underground that were causing all kind of problems for this utopia he created. The rebels. They lived underground. They operated underground in the sewers and all that shit. They ate rat burgers and they lived their life. They cussed. They fucked. They smoked. All that shit. And there was a rebel leader. Right? There was a rebel leader that was disrupting his power structure because there will always be those rebels. It doesn't matter what kind of dictatorship you have. It doesn't matter what type of tyrannical system you have. There will always be rebel forces that'll try to take that shit, get rid of that shit. But anyway, this guy was causing all kind of problems. He'll come to the service, they'll steal food, they'll do this, they'll do that. And the guy wanted to kill him, right? Wanted to kill him. He wanted him going. What did he do? He released a hardened criminal from cryogenesis, right? That's because in the movie, instead of, putting these people in jail for rehabilitation, they drop them in these tanks and put them in cryo tanks. And their brains are hooked up to machines that rehabilitate them. So basically, you put them in these cryo chambers, these cryo tanks, and you rehabilitate them by basically indoctrinating them, right? Because they get to see images, they get chemical injections, all this other shit. Well, they released this guy mad early from cryostasis, from cryogenesis chamber. And he wanted him to go kill the rebel. See what I'm saying? Because it was about power. He wanted to maintain his power. Yeah, Simon Phoenix was not playing. But again, it always is disruptive. There are always going to be people that are going to rebel against tyranny. No matter what form the tyranny comes in, right? There will always be those that will want to resist. Just like in an anarchistic society, there will always be people that are going to want to rise up and become dictators. It's just how it works. That's the balance, y'all. But right now, we're heavily out of balance. And those scales, they have to be tipped, right? The scales have to be adjusted. So that's what we're dealing with when we're talking about government. And that's what we're dealing with when we're talking about that Department of Defense directive for the military to use deadly force while assisting civilian law enforcement. They're trying to keep the balance in their favor. That's why that directive is out there. They want it out of balance, right? They want it out of balance. So they're going to use the means they can to keep it out of balance. They want to keep the rebels down. They want to stamp the rebels down. They will always do whatever they can to quell rebellion. And they want you to think that all rebellion is bad. All rebellion is wrong. Oh, you can't rebel against the government. We're the government. That's their logic. Oh, don't rebel against us because we're government. That's not how that fucking works. Right? That's called circular logic. Right? Oh, you can't rebel against government because I'm the government. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Well, that's what they want y'all to think. And that's how statists think. Oh, well, we have to obey them. They're government. Oh, they have to tax us because they have to be able to do government shit. That's the logic, y'all. Because government. That's how statist thinks. But see, statists, they think that their vote counts towards how that government operates. Well, the government, if I vote for this particular person to run this government or to run this branch of government, they're going to do what I want them to do. You think you have a say in how the government acts and how it dictates and how it... Y'all really think y'all have any say on how the government operates? Because you vote. Oh, my Lord. Jay with Open Eyes says, speaking of Cali, I think they about to do them dirty with a big ass earthquake. Well, they might. It wouldn't take nothing. All they need is a resonator at a fault. Y'all know what a resonator is? Y'all go look that up. All they need is the right resonant frequency at the fault to make it happen. Mind and Mansa Musa was good. Freedom is not free. You're absolutely right. That's why I stress. Freedom is uncomfortable. Freedom is hard and it's dangerous. Yeah, and you do have to pay for it. But see, here's the illusion. The illusion is to believe that peaceful slavery is safe. That peaceful slavery is comfortable. That peaceful slavery is free. But peaceful slavery is not free. It's not comfortable. It's not safe. But I'm just not trying to convince people that freedom is just this utopian thing where everything is flowers and unicorns and butterflies. That's not how that works. Freedom is dangerous, but it's overtly dangerous. It's overtly uncomfortable. Whereas tyranny, it's all illusory. They use illusions. It's all illusory, y'all. It's all an illusion. And it's structured on belief. What holds up government? What keeps government in power, y'all? Can y'all give me an idea? What do they operate off of? How do they get their power? They get their power. They get their they get their longevity from our belief in it. Our belief in the system, our belief in government is what keeps it in power. And when we have faith and belief in it, we give our consent. That's why they talk about consent of the governed. Just Google consent of the governed. Just Google it. You don't even have to say Constitution. You ain't got to say law. Just type in consent of the governed. It'll take you right to it. Government operate. Quit riding my ass. Go on ahead. Damn, man. I guess 80 miles per hour ain't fast enough for some of these people. Black Spring Autumn says reaction from the people. They operate on belief. They operate on belief. They operate on faith. Faith in government, belief in government. That's how they exist. And with that faith and with that belief, we give consent. Yeah. You're welcome, Carol P. So, there's so many allegories and examples. They show you in movies, they show you in TV shows, cartoons, comic books, Bible stories. It's all about belief. If only we had belief in ourselves like we had in government. Can you imagine if we had belief in our own power, belief in our own abilities? How many of y'all believe that what you guys do to earn a living every day was given to you by government? Did the government imbue you with the abilities that you have to live your life? What's up, Jimmy Nguyen? Did the government anoint you with all your abilities, your talents, your skills, your intelligence, your know-how, your mechanical reasoning? Did you get that from government? If only we had belief in ourselves, in our little communities that we had in government. If only we had faith and belief in ourselves that we could build our own hospitals, that we can build our own bridges, that we can build our own roads. Wait a minute, we already do that. Those men you see out there, yeah, men. Those men you see out there building those roads, building those hospitals and those buildings, building the infrastructure, they're you and me. They're your husbands. They're me. They're your sons. And some of them are women, yes. Because you need women as well. Women are important. Women are our encouragement, our inspiration to do the things that we do. If only we had belief and faith in our women like we had in our government. If only women had faith and belief in the men that they have in the government. Imagine what we could accomplish. Imagine what we could accomplish if we had faith in ourselves and faith in our own beliefs. That we had so much faith and so much belief in ourselves that we could just go ahead and choose freedom. I choose freedom over peaceful slavery. I choose dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. That's what I choose. And that's what everyone should be choosing. You can't get that from government, y'all. The government, they don't set you free. They don't keep you free. And they don't protect your freedom. They do the opposite. And they've demonstrated that time and time again. And with that, I'm going to get on off of here, y'all. I got to get to a gas station and relieve myself. But I'm glad you guys came through. Thanks for hitting that like button, you guys. Thanks for the support. Y'all go check out these channels. Y'all go check out Black Spring with Autumn. They're in the chat. Drop y'all links. Kamir and Fields, drop your link. Jay with Open Eyes 4, drop your link. Marshy T, if you're in there, drop your link. Everybody has a channel and has a wrench. Y'all go ahead and drop y'all links, man. Let's support each other, man. We need to start building our own networks. We need to build a network. We really do. And I'm not even a people person. And I'm encouraging that. I'm not a people person. I don't like people. But you know what? I understand how important people are. I understand the importance of community. See, with a structured community, you don't need government. Communities are small. Communities are organic. And I'm going to leave you guys with that. But remember, Tuesday is the day. And I want you guys to understand that the Department of Defense has issued a directive for military personnel to use the deadly force against civilian population while assisting civilian law enforcement. I want y'all to understand that. I want you to understand that they have National Guard on standby in Oregon, Washington, and Nevada. And apparently somebody setting fire to ballot boxes, which I don't see any harm in that, but whatever. But in response to that, this is what they're doing, y'all. This is how they want to answer it. Just be careful out there where you guys are voting. I'm not going to say don't vote. You guys do what you want to do. Y'all going to handle that. And much love to you guys. So anyway, let's keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.